All right. As I was saying before, Godot is awesome, but so is GIMP. GIMP is really cool, and you should use it. And open source is fun. So anyway, I downloaded this nice little template by our friend Mr. Asshole42. And the MIT means the MIT license that you can use it. I'm going to give it a folder to go to, and do I have another folder on this computer or another? I don't have another drive connected, so I'll just use this one. Let's go to a list, and don't put it on your OneDrive. People keep installing Godot to their OneDrive and working off of their OneDrive, and as you've learned, it creates problems. But the computers here think that the only thing we do with these computers is write Microsoft Word documents, which we don't. We don't write. We don't know how to read or write. We are illiterate. So anyway, I'm going to move up a level, and I'm going to go to my documents. Oh, no, we're not illiterate. We love to read and write. We are the Inklings, as they call us here at Buffalo State. I'm going to call this 3D 2. Let's call it Brand. When my parents leave me a message on my voicemail, Google picks up their accent because they're from the South, and they, Brand, she's your mom. And that's what it says. I'm going to hit install. So they don't, I guess the AI doesn't have a filter for Southern accents. I'm stuck in a crick. Let's restart and upgrade because I'm in 4.4.1. All right. So if I hit the play button, and this computer is super fast, so this will take just a second. It gives us this little template here to work with, and you can customize this to whatever you want. I hit play, and then we have this wonderful default setting here. Why Mr. Asshole42 made everything pink, I don't know. If you hit escape, you can close it. Curiously, on that main scene, if you come over here, he gave us a little cat icon right here for no particular reason. So that way, if you play it, there's a cat right there. And that's not helpful, but yeah. So that's the main scene. That's where you open up, and then you have this menu system that you can customize and do whatever you want with. What if I wanted a whole nother scene or another place to go from? And I can customize this one moving forward, or I can make a custom home scene. Let's go to Blender. And for now, we'll just use Blender 4.3. But we should upgrade to 4.4.4.1. Just going to make a simple world, and remember your size matters. So if I have item here, I've got an item here that's 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters. I'll just delete that. Let's make a plane. Yes? Mind is in the gutter. I'm going to hit S for scale. Let's just make this plane here, and then let's, it's going to be a good beer tonight at trivia. I'm going to extend this. So we got a little bit of a floor, and then I'm going to build a wall here. So I'm going to select face, and then I'm going to inset that a little bit like this. And this is just one way of building a wall. There's a billion ways to build a wall. Select this, and then I'm going to hit E for extend. So that way I've just got a wall that goes all around. And so I'll just put this in, I'll call this pane room dash COL. Why do I say COL? Collision, that's right. I don't want the light, I don't want the camera. All right, file, save. And let's go ahead and put that into our folder. So it's in documents. And I called it 3D2. Did I not? Where are you?
I think it was on top.
What's that?
I think this on
There-
time.
Yeah, thank you. 3D2 Brant. Appreciate that, Tristan. Thank you. Then I'm going to save this file in, you can save it in graphics, or I'll just save it at the root here. And I'll call this pane room. Don't use spaces, don't use file names, but if you're going to use camel casing as I am here, be consistent. All right. So then over here, we see pane room. There it is. If I double click it, we can see it here in this sort of room generator or importer here. It shows that there's a collision shape on this object, and it shows the basic elements that are in this scene. So what's happening under the hood here is Godot is using the GitLif importer to automatically bring in this file with Blender itself. So you have to have Blender installed on your computer for this to work in this way. This version of Godot is already pointed to that Blender file, so it all happens seamlessly. And if we were to change the color of this, just make it a simple color, just use and we can add textures and everything to this later. But I'll just make it, because what color is pane? Pane is purple. So now it'll be purple. I can hit save. And then when I come back over here to Godot, and I look at pane room, it's purple. So it's easy peasy. Colors and things like that are easy. And if we wanted to use textures like we did with our galleries, we can do that as well. But of course, if I wanted to wrap a texture around that, it would have to be unwrapped with a UV map. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I would like to get to this room as its own scene. Okay? And notice that in this scene, we have the player object right here. And it's a scene in and of itself with its own scripts and everything tied to it. And so likewise, if we look at our scenes here, we see the player TSCN here. This is a reusable aspect in the program. And in other game design engines like Unity, this is called a prefab. And that's essentially what we're making over here with the pane room is a prefab. And what I want to do is create a system by which I can access it. And so first we've got to create that scene. So let's go to scene, new scene. And then in this new scene, we are just going to drag the pane room into it. And so now the pane room is in this scene, but we haven't saved it yet. So let's right click and save scene. And that scene will be called the pane room.tscn. We can save it in the scenes folder, or you can save it at the top. It's up to you. Okay, so now we've saved it, and we would like to add the player to this scene too. So we'll just drag the player and drag the player in right here. Move it in right there. All right, and to see if this scene works, instead of playing it here, we can play just this scene. So if we save it and play it, now we're just in that scene. Okay, I'll escape. Let's go ahead and add an environment to this room. Let's add a child node. Let's add an environment. And this is like a world in Blender, but the worlds in Blender don't come over directly. We have to bring them over here. And this process is a little cumbersome, but you can do it. Just keep clicking. Like in that Finding Nemo movie, just keep swimming. In graphic design, we just keep clicking. And when we can't get anywhere, we keep right clicking. And I'm going to create a new environment here, a new environment object. Then you think, okay, where's that environment? You click on it, and then here's all the properties for it. All right, so here's the background, it's a clear color, here's the reflected light, and so forth. Maybe in the background, we would like, instead of a clear color, we would like a sky. Okay, and then this is really confusing. We need a sky object for that background. So we'll create a new sky. And then we click on it here, and then what's the sky material? You're welcome for this. This is fun. We're having a good time now. So let's use a new physical sky material or a new procedural sky material. I can't remember which. So let's try procedural sky material. There we go. And so then we have a new sky material, and it has a sun right up there at the top. Now this is not intuitive because I come from the Blender world, and in the Blender world, when we're using a sky material, it has its own sun, and we can adjust the location of that sun in the sky material. But here, if we want to adjust the location of the sun, we actually have to add a sun. So in Godot, it's called a directional light. So once we add that directional light, then we can rotate it wherever we need to, and then we will see it, hopefully, wherever we rotate it. So I've got to rotate it the other way, but there you go. So now you can see that sun off in the distance. And then you can change other things about it here, like the quality of the shadow. If we want it to be casting shadows, now it's casting a shadow. How blurry that shadow is, but also because it's a rendering in real time, the shadows might not be as realistic as they are in Blender. But there's ways to make the shadows in Godot bake and make them look really good in real time. But if we're doing look really good in gameplay, but if we're just doing it this way, it'll be all right. Notice if I zoom really far, the shadow disappears because it doesn't calculate shadows for a whole scene when we're really far away. So now I play it, and we'll see just this because we haven't put that scene there. We don't have a way to get to that scene yet. If I play just this scene, there we go. We have our room, our pane room as it's called, and we can jump on it, the collisions and everything work. So in this way, if you wanted to build a landscape or if you wanted to build an interior space or something like that, you can quickly do so. Any questions? No? I've heard some good professors say, instead of saying any questions, you say, before we go forward, I need 3 questions to be asked to activate the class from falling asleep. So before we go forward, 3 questions. And keep in mind, I might not know. All right, Skylar.
When you add the sun, does it get rid of the original sun from the procedural skybox?
Nope. It's the new sun.
Oh, okay, so you only have one sun.
So you only have 1 sun. I have 3, but in this game we only have 1. Good question. 1 more question. I will limit it to 2 questions for now before we move forward. It's not intuitive. It's a little bit different. I know it's confusing, but these are powerful skills. Yes, Mr. Christian.
Okay.
Ask your question indeed.
No, I'm just curious as how you would get from, the first scene to the next scene. Like, what node would you need to put in?
I'm curious too. You want to find out?
Yeah.
Let's find out how we move from one scene to the next. And there is in the asset library, when you come over to the asset library, and you can open that asset library anytime, there is actually a really nice scene transitioner. So if you here's a scene selector option. Here, where is the transition? What we're just going to do is cuts. But if you wanted like nice transitions, you can do a scene that fade in and fade out, or do really clever things like that. So like when you get killed in a game or something like that, you want some sort of drama or something like that. When the alien ship wins, you want what that happens. Let's go back over here. Let's go back to the main scene, and then let's add a new node. We're going to add a node called Area 3D. All right, and then that node needs a child node. The child node that it needs is a collision shape 3D. If you're making a 2D game, it would be a collision shape 2D, and it would be an area 2D. And so then now we have a collision shape 2D, but it needs a shape. So because this is software and not 3D software, it is 3D software too, it's written by programmers. When you create a cube in Blender, you've actually created a data object that contains a cube mesh. What we've created here is a data object that could contain a mesh, but it doesn't have it yet. So it doesn't make sense for graphic designers when I say that. So we've created the concept of a mesh object, but we haven't created the mesh data in it yet. So what we have to do is create it. And so here under the shape tab, because here we have the collision shape object selected, but in the properties, it doesn't have a shape. So now we create a shape for it. And I'll just use a new box shape 3D. And it looks a little different than other objects. So I'm just going to move it over here and move it up here. And you can see it here, and it's just this invisible space. Like water, it is invisible. All right, if you want to focus on it, in Blender you hit the period key on the number pad, but in almost all other 3D programs you hit the F key for focus on it. And so now I'm rotating around it. Okay, so when our player runs into this invisible shape, we want it to be listening for an event. And the event will be that the player runs into this, and then something else happens, right? It loads another scene. And let me get my cheat sheet here, because I always am bad with remembering code. And so, where are you? There we go. And so what we want to do is once we have, and it's counterintuitive, because you want to put the trigger on the shape itself, but you put it on its parent, the area 3D. And what you do, and okay, so this is where the class all comes together. And even though many of you aren't watching, remember when we talked about Adobe Animate 6 years ago, right? And we were using the scripting tools, the automatic wizards or whatever, to tie an object to an event or to a link or to other things, or to tie it to the timeline. The same thing is here, except you got to write the code yourself to a degree. We're going to connect objects. So I select the area 3D, and the whole reason I did, and the shape of the area 3D looks like this. Don't worry about that right now. We can move that around later. This is the actual collision area. And so once we select it, this is the basic properties for it, but we really don't need to change any properties here. We want to go to this node tab. And then all of these are signals. Oops, selected here. These are all signals that are things that you can, that this collision 3D can listen to. And what we want to do is look for this one that says body entered. So, and when I roll over it, it says this is triggered when it's emitted when a body enters this area. The body can be a physical body 3D or a grid map, or it can be a mesh library. You can make it specific what exactly hits it, but we don't care. Whenever anything hits this, because we don't have anything else moving around in the scene, we're going to trigger an event. So then it says what event or what script do you want this to go to. We're going to put it on the player. It just assumes you want to put that on the player. If you want it to go on something else, you can do something else. It's going to call this function that it's about to create on area 3D body entered. And it's calling it that because this is called area 3D. But it uses by default this underscore casing method. You can change that in preferences. So I hit connect. And so then we are inside the script for the player itself, player.gd. Okay, so knowing that is a little bit confusing. Up here, we have these different tabs. This is the script editor, the 3D editor, and the 2D editor. And we see the main tab right here. It might make you think we're editing a script in the main tab, but that's not the case. We're just editing scripts, and we have the player.gd file open. And that is right there. And so here's a function written in GDScript, which is very similar to Python. And when it says pass, it just means there's nothing happening in this function. What we want is a new function here. And so basically what we want it to say is get underscore tree. And this is very similar to what we saw when we first introduced Godot last semester with the simple menu system. Change, and then scene to file. And then we need that file. And if you remember right, I put it inside of a scene called, or a folder called scenes, and it's called painroom.tscn. Save. All right, let's come over here. We've saved the main file, we've saved the script. So in theory, if we play this and it doesn't throw any errors, we'll play it. We'll go in this direction. We don't see anything there, and then we're in the pain room. Yeah. And if you're a programmer and you're concerned about things like garbage collection, right, Skylar? You don't need to worry about it here. They take care of the garbage collection. It's deleted all those files, as far as I know. You know, if there's a memory leak, I don't know, but it might come up. But like the other developers in here are like, what the hell? I am not a software developer. I am a designer who knows enough to be dangerous. Okay, let's make something else. I'm going to go to my file. I'm going to create a new file. Goodbye, pain room. Let's make a worm, because that's something I do, right?
It's always been your thing.
It's my thing, the worm. Okay. Let's select this play mode. Before we do anything else, let's delete that camera by, delete this light by. Let's make this guy a worm. This is not how I made the worm. Oh, I guess it kind of is how I made the worm, except I didn't put an armature in it before. I'm going to extend this out. And if you're critical about like how far you want it to be extended out, that's up to you. Let's subdivide it a little bit. Let's go to generate, subdivide. Subdivision surface. All right. Then let's put in an armature after we right-click shade smooth. Let's say, I used to do this in Unity, and now that we can do it in Godot is awesome. I haven't tested it with this kind of armature. I'm hoping it works. We'll find out. And so let's add an armature. Where's the armature? It's inside of it. How do we see it? Well, we see it right there in the wireframe mode. But if we want to see it all the time, we select the armature here. We go to viewport display and we say show it in front of everything else. So now it's right there. Let's go into edit mode on the armature. I'm going to select it here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to hit GZ to move it down. And then I'm going to select the top joint of it. And then I'm just going to hit EZ to move it up. I'm going to add another joint, add another joint, add another joint, and one more. I like for these guys to pop out, but it doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to make a real simple inverse kinematic to make animation quick. So I'm going to switch to pose mode on that armature, and I'm going under the pose settings here. I'm just going to make auto IK. So these are big words, inverse kinematic, but what it just means is that if I select this top mode and I hit G, the other bones follow along with it, so it acts like a finger. Okay, there's a billion other ways to set this up. This is the fastest for a finger worm shape. Okay, so now what I want to do is tie this armature to this mesh. So I go back into object mode. I select this armature, and then I shift select the mesh. I hit Control P, and I set parent. Do it the other way. I select the mesh, then I select the armature, Control P, and then I choose armature deform with automatic weights. All right. Having done that, if I go into pose mode again on the armature and I hit G, it's moving my worm. Okay? It's a little unsettling, but worm animation. Okay? So what I want to do now, it's gross, I know. Let's just create a looping animation of my worm. Okay? So the easiest way to do that is I want my worm to start and end in the same place. So, and it's important that you set keyframes not just for this bone, but all the bones. And so I'm going to just select all the bones, A, and then I'm on frame 1, and I will just hit I. So that way we see that there is an armature, or a keyframe. And I want this animation to last 90 seconds, 90 frames rather, and I want it to end right here, so I hit I. I'm also going to end my movie to end at 90 frames. Then I just will set up some other keyframes in other places. So I'll hit G, and then G again. Let's move it around. It's kind of hard to do this, but G, just have some different positions for our worm. G. And so I'll select all the frames and hit I. If you want, you can just turn on auto keyframing, but it's dangerous because you might forget it's on. And if I just move anything, keyframes will automatically be created every time I move. G. So now I've made 4 frames. The first and last one are the same ones. Turn off auto keyframing, like a good Boy Scout. Now if I hit play, we see our worm animation. Are we not amazed? Okay, so let's go back into object mode. We've made our worm animation. Let's save it, save as, and we will call it, obviously, the worm. Save as. Let's make sure our character can't walk through it. So we'll select the mesh itself, and we'll rename it -COL. And then this is what's weird, because I've never taught this if you've had a 3D class with me. What we need to do is give a name to the animation itself. The animation needs a name, and we'll see it either in the nonlinear animation editor or in the dope sheet. And so right now, the action that is in this guy is called amateur, or it's an amateur action. It's an armature action, and that's what it's called right there. We'll just call it wiggle. So it already has that action name, but yeah, that's its name now. Save. All right. So what we're going to do is have an animation such that, hopefully, if it all works, when we go into the pain room, there'll be a pain worm that is writhing in pain in our pain room. Okay, that's our goal. Let's give it a little bit of a color first, and we'll do some more detailed textures and everything when time permits, or in the year 2000. Let's come back over here. Let's just make it, what color should a pain worm be? Green, blue, orange, like our university. It's a Buff State. Our new mascot is the pain worm. You are welcome. Okay. Yay, pain worm.
Mascots. Just real close-ups of the face of like a fly or a mantis. Things that I know a lot of people want to see.
Yes.
Spiders especially.
It really fits our time. I think it will be great. All right. So we've named the action. We've named the file. We've saved the file into the Godot project. Let's go over to Godot and see if it sees it. All right. Here's the worm. I'll double click on it. And you do see the action right there called wiggle. And if we play it, you'll see there it goes. It is wiggling. All right. What we need to do is enable it and turn on loop mode. We'll say linear. If we wanted it to be ping pong, we could, but since I made it loop, it should loop anyway. But it's not that simple. All right, so after we make those settings, we hit re-import. Okay, now you might think you can just pick it up and drop it into your scene. It's not that simple either. What I've found works better is to make it an inherited scene. So if I right-click on this, or right-click on it, and say new inherited scene. So the worm itself is going to go from being a .blend file to being its own TSCN, okay, like the player. So we'll say it's a new inherited scene, and so then we see it's opened up right here. And while it's opened up, we see that there's an animation player, and you can see all the keyframes that are manually put in for each individual bone. While we're here in this realm, we need to tell it to automatically play, autoplay on load, okay? And hopefully, because we told it to loop, it will loop. I'm not certain that will be the case, but we'll find out. Okay, so we save this scene. Right-click on this tab, save scene, and we'll call it painworm.tscn. Okay, so everything in Godot is a scene to a certain degree, and it helps it to be a scene. It's not intuitive for us designers. So where did it save it? Saved it up here. The worm.blend, pain room, but here is painworm.tscn, pain room and pain worm. I did that to myself. I'm going to get confused now on purpose. So let's pick it up and drop it in right there. All right, and so now if we test that scene, there he is. We can go up to him, and we shouldn't be able to walk through him. Nope, because we told him to be a collision object. Why did you say no? Who said that? Okay, so we can design this whole thing now, but let's try one more thing, okay? Let's go back to painworm.tscn. Let's turn off automatic play. I want it to seem like it's nice, and then when you get close to it, it's activated. It's activated, all right? What can we do to do that? This will be the last thing, I promise. So I feel like I lost half the class. Okay, all right, so we'll open up that pane worm again. And I think we can set it up right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add another area 3D. Create. And then to that, we're going to add another collision shape. Collision shape 3D. So once that's created, we need to give it a shape. And that shape could be anything. Let's make it a cylinder. Let's make it a cube. And then let's pull that out. Let's pull that out here. Pull that out here. Pull that out here. My concern with this, though, is that this is a body too, and it's got a collision shape, so this might actually activate it. So let's move it out on this side a little bit, so that way it doesn't actually run into it. And if we wanted to make a more complicated shape, we could. So my goal here is that whenever we get this close to it, we'll activate it from this angle anyway. So like we did before, let's save it, and then let's go to the node, and let's say area 3D and body entered. And we're going to put it on the animation player this time. The animation player doesn't have a script yet, so a script will be created. Target method not specified. So if there isn't a script on there, we have to create one. So there's several ways of doing that, but we can just hit plus right here to attach a new script to the animation player. And it'll be called animationplayer.gd, and that's fine. So let's do that again. On body entered, connect. And the only thing we want it to do is play wiggle. So we just write play, and then in quotation marks, it already corrects that for us, wiggle. All right, save. So the reason this works is because it's inside of the, I hope it works, is because it's inside the context of the animation player. We don't have to specify that. If we wanted other animation players to play, we would have to target them in a larger way. But for this introduction project, we're trying to keep it super simple. All right, and so that's Paneworm, it's saved, and now Paneworm is being used over here, presumably with that new activation. But I don't remember what angle it was at, but let's find out. It's not moving, and now it's moving. Huzzah, all right? So we hit play. I'm not going to use that word anymore. We get closer. Oh God, all right, so then we activate it. So that could be like an enemy script that's activated, doing lots of different things. But now we can just play the whole video. Hit play. Here's our cat, which we can edit. And then I'll come over here, go to the pane room. Oh, oh, what's that? And then there it goes. Oh no. I think we could scale it down because it's a little bit frightening being that big. And the shadows don't look quite right, but yeah, and we can make that full screen. All right, so what have we done there? We've created simple systems with minimal scripts for loading new levels, for bringing in animations, for playing those animations. I want you to guess where you could extrapolate that from there. Imagine creating collision areas to open doors, to go into other levels, to play videos, to do a host of other things. What are your ideas, Amaya? No ideas right now? You're thinking? All right, let that stir around with you. I recorded this whole thing. I'll post it online for you. 2 questions. What are your 2 questions based on this? Mike Kim.
Can you make the worm move around?
Can you make the worm move around?
Like walk around in space?
Yes. So you could create that same keyframe. So inside of Blender, you could have that worm move around in different directions. If you wanted it to chase the player, then that would involve some more complicated scripting. But if you just wanted it to do a dance or move around, you could anything like that you could do. One more question. Just one more. Scott.
The player dies, how would you reset them? Like if you were to get that far?
You can basically write a series of events. If this happens, then this. Then you could reload the main page. If you want variables to last across the entire event, you would create another scene that counts, adds up variables, and so you could have like 3 lives and so forth. So all of that is possible, and it's not as hard as it might sound to create. GD script is a really friendly and helpful system. Whenever you're writing anything, if you make a mistake, it's got constant code hinting, but if you make a mistake here, it starts showing that to you right away. It says undetermined string. A string, if you are new to programming, just means a line of characters that is text instead of numbers. And so, yeah, it's really straightforward, and there is tons of documentation on how to do this, as well as in the asset library. Every time you open up one of these asset library examples, you can look at it, see the scripts that are in there, and either copy and paste them into your project or study them and learn how to do this. There's also a pretty useful site and group out of Toronto called GD Quest. And most of their stuff is free, but yeah, so their website has tons of resources for you, tons of tutorials and everything, procedural generated scenes, starter kits. Yeah, so GD Quest is really useful for doing a lot of this. Okay, so our goal for the rest of the semester